Yeah, she's the dancing queen in my mind. That's right. I'm talking about the beautiful Miss Gina Grad. How you doing, Pumpkin?
I am good. I love that song. Did you know that ABBA back in the old days won Eurovision? I know about Eurovision right now, but most Americans don't. You must.
Go ahead and explain it, just
It's
to give them an idea.
it's basically it's the world stage that is basically every country is involved except for the United States, which is why none of us know about it. But it's like every country in Europe, Eastern, Western, and like Israel and a bunch of other places. It's like a worldwide talent show, and somebody representing each country goes on and does a song or a dance or a skit or like an America's Got Talent thing for the world, and then it's voted on. I believe was it Finland or Sweden won this year? But Eurovision is like it launched ABBA, it launched Olivia Newton-John, Celine Dion. But yeah, the United States just knows nothing about it.
Yeah, because we're cool.
Yeah, we weren't invited.
We're hip. Rightly so.
Yeah,
Usually, you would be shocked. We had Wolfman Jack and the Midnight Special, and we had
sure,
American Bandstand, and we had the black version of American Bandstand called Soul Train.
of course.
And that's, so we got all of our stuff from those three. So it was either Wolfman Jack or Don Cornelius or the
Dick
third
Clark.
Dick Clark. That was our three.
Yep.
Right? And by extension on the radio, we had what's his name, who passed away and his daughter's a big DJ now. He did the American Top 40.
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
But in England, they had something that blew all of that away called Top of the Pops.
Right.
Which was, we had four things.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They had one thing. If you got on Top of the Pops,
I've heard of that.
You were going somewhere.
Absolutely. And to piggyback on that, American Idol was based on called British Idol or like
right.
Idol Pop or whatever.
It was
Pop
something
Idol.
else. Yeah.
Yeah. So we like to remix, reboot, and yeah, we should be more involved with Eurovision because even though we're not invited, it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and by the way, I do know this about the Europeans since there's one in the house.
Yeah.
Just like us, they loved watching Soul Train to learn those dance steps. Look, when I was a kid, that was must watch Saturday afternoon television. Soul Train on. You can miss the whole show. Like you might see Marvin Gaye or something like that, something you really wanted to see.
Right.
But whenever they would do the dance line,
oh, the best.
I encourage everyone to go Google that and watch videos of that. You will see moves. You're going to sit there and go, that's not anatomically possible.
No, it's crazy. And you'll be shocked to see Rosie Perez is one of the dancers in the 80s. They do the Soul Train line is the greatest thing you could see on YouTube.
Yeah. And some of these people in the 70s, when the platform shoes were the deal.
Yeah.
These guys are on platform shoes and still doing it.
Yeah. Acrobatic.
Yeah. Just crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah. Go on, Gina.
Yeah. I just feel like I've been stalling a bit because I know there are things we have to get to that are personal, but I just want to clear the air, if you don't mind. And as Tim Conway Jr. always said, I can't do this off the mic. It's way too uncomfortable. So I got to do it on the mic.
What did I do?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how often you're on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure it was on your page, not mine. I can't find it. I was just looking for it. But I have a secret for you, and it's going to blow the listenership out of the water.
Well, I usually see most of my Instagram stuff, so I didn't see it. There was no controversy on mine.
Oh, well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you must have missed it because you and I are madly in love.
Really?
Did you know that?
I'm madly in love with you, but I didn't think it was reciprocal.
Apparently it goes both ways because on your page, I commented, under your beefcake Greek god picture, like whatever I comment. And some internet sleuth was like, wait a second, he always comments on her page and she comments on his page. Like, and I was like, you figured it out. You figured it out. Vinny and I, a seedy, tawdry relationship. You all figured it out, because it really, people started like jumping on this. So I just wanted you to know.
So
yeah,
that's on my thing.
It was. I don't know if it was deleted, but I was a part of it. So I just wanted you to know that you and I were a hot and heavy.
Do you remember which picture it was?
I assumed it was the one of you looking like Dolph Lundgren at his prime, but I didn't see it there. So I got to find it.
I have two of them. I have one where I'm in a bikini.
Oh, right.
And then another one where I'm in jeans.
Okay, hold on.
So I don't want to spend a lot of time looking for this.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I might.
The one with the bikini has 103 comments, so that's a possibility. And the one with the jeans has 70 comments. So they both had a lot of comments.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was trying to scrub through. I should have been ready, but I just remembered that I forgot to tell you that you and I were dating from across the country and that our secret's out.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, Gina,
I mean,
I don't know what to say.
Sorry. I know.
Tell your husband bye-bye. You
yeah.
have things to do.
Tell your wife that I know I can't compete.
Listen, I'm gonna go tell her after dinner, of course. It's over with. Not before.
And it's so funny because it's like, like we're both pretty jovial and pretty effusive. I'm going to use all my big words. So when somebody maybe doesn't know us as well, and it's like, hey, you look hot. Oh, really? Well, what about your banging body? Well, I didn't realize that in some cultures, I guess, is a marriage proposal. So you and I are together, and I'm having a great time. And thanks for having me.
And next time I'm in California, we can consummate this whole thing and get rocking and rolling.
Sure. I mean, you've already seen my boobs. How many times?
I have. I would like to say it was pretty.
It was, of all the times, it's like, be careful what you wish for. Anyone who wanted to see my boobs, I was just post surgery. And I was saying, hey, does this look infected? And you're a really good friend for checking them out.
Yeah. It's a good thing I didn't eat before those. Folks, I'm sure they look great now, but boy,
they do.
There were holes in them.
Yeah.
You could have stuck a finger knuckle deep in those.
I did.
Holes.
It's called debriding. I had to do that.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Wasn't pretty. And Gina, by the way, I just watched the whole thing, and I even sent you a picture one night. I watched the whole Firefly Lane thing.
Oh, okay. Are you done?
Yeah, I finally figured it out, because the whole time I kept saying, why does Katherine Heigl remind me of Gina? And normally you guys don't look that much alike.
No.
Whenever they had her because do you know that they do three things? It's 1970s, two young girls.
Oh.
And then Katherine Heigl and this girl, Sarah Chalk, they both play the 80s girls and 2005 girls.
I had no idea.
In the 80s girls.
Oh, God.
That's where you look like her, because they put longer hair on her, and they put and then they pull it back.
Yep.
So every side shot of her and the whole thing, it looks like you.
Yeah.
Because you have this big thing of hair.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to tell you this, and I might get in trouble by saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Okay.
The second season, I'm looking at it going, she doesn't look much like Gina anymore.
Oh, boy.
And for whatever reason, Katherine put on some weight, and it shows in her face. Maybe it was shot during COVID or something, and everyone was putting on weight. I don't know when it was shot, but Katherine had more weight in her face and didn't look like you. So if you see the show, you look like her in the 80s version in the first season, not so much in the second season.
Well, this is the first time anyone's ever told me I look like a thinner Katherine Heigl. I can tell you that.
Well,
Now I am very interested because when I was much younger, I'm talking 20 years ago, and I had very short hair and I put it in these little pigtails, people would say I looked like Ashley Judd. Now, do I look like Ashley Judd? Not really, but there's something about Ashley Judd and apparently Katherine Heigl that if you catch us in the right light, you'll see something.
yeah. Usually it's when you're smiling and Catherine is smiling. Somehow it
Interesting.
becomes the same smile.
Well, now just out of ego, I got to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wouldn't, when Catherine was a blonde and the whole thing, I wouldn't have ever
No.
guessed it.
God, no. No. Interesting.
By the way, always loved her as an actress.
I never watched Grey's Anatomy or anything like that.
I
So
never
I
saw
don't really
that.
know. So you must have watched
Rom-coms and that sort of thing.
yeah, the one
Yeah.
with Seth Rogen.
I did see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knocked up. Made no sense.
Knocked up. Right.
I mean, she wouldn't have ever been with that dude in a million years.
But isn't that the story of Hollywood rom-com?
Well, that used to be the whole lineup for every sitcom.
Everything.
Yeah, think about it. They would put Kevin James with like the hottest chick ever.
I was going to say King of Queens is sort of the go-to with Leah Remini and Kevin James. Right. Very normal.
I'll give you another one. Ray Romano with his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. In real life, he ain't getting her. He's not. Come on. I could go down the whole sitcom list.
And just as a branch from what you're saying, the kids, Ray Romano's kids, blonde, waspy, whitest little towhead, blonde hair, blue eyes. It's like, really? Okay.
That wop? Huh. You're kidding me. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so many of those.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to some fitness news here. What's going on, Gina?
Well, can we keep it personal if we're doing a personal show today?
Does it pertain to health and fitness?
It sure as hell does.
All right. Well, let's rock and roll.
All right. You've met my mother, yes?
Love her.
Love her. She's great. She loves you. However, you both have over the years agreed to disagree on health, on nutrition, on weight loss in general. She's big in, Weight Watchers. Now, you don't call it that anymore. It's WW.
WW, because
they rebranded
away from there. It's kind of like when Kentucky Fried Chicken wanted to take fried out of it, they became KFC.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's kind of her thing. And, very just, old school. Like I told you, we were raised on Snackwells and Diet Right. We didn't know that was wrong. My mom still has a jug of, I can't believe it's not butter spray in her fridge. The Kraft singles that you could, basically make those Shrinky Dinks with. And that's just how we grew up. And that's how she rolled. Uh-oh.
A Shrinky Dink?
You know what Shrinky Dinks are, don't you?
Never heard that term until right now.
Wait a second. If you were alive in the 70s or 80s, you were probably too old for Shrinky Dinks. Shrinky Dinks were a big 80s thing, where it was like a little metal picture, say, of a flower. And then you take these little plastic beads and you put them inside and then you bake it in the oven and it comes out like little stained glass, and they were called Shrinky Dinks. And that's what the Kraft singles look like to me, Shrinky Dinks.
So your mom would melt them?
I mean, I'm talking about the fat-free Kraft singles that don't look like food. They look like Shrinky Dinks. They look like plastic Shrinky Dinks.
We never had. Now I know what a Shrinky Dink is. But all right, that's odd.
Okay.
I would see the Kraft singles.
Yep.
My mom never bought them.
No, of course
we didn't have. We had the big chunk of cheese,
right?
Whatever. But I remember one time being somewhere, like at another kid's house.
Yeah.
And the mom was like, "Hey, you guys want a slice of cheese?" You would come in from playing. Hey, you want a slice of cheese? This kind of thing, and handed me one of those. The first thing was that it was in a plastic thing.
I was going to say, you didn't know how to open it, did you?
No idea. It looked like it was hermetically sealed.
It was.
And the other kids just went, and it's like,
yep.
What's that voodoo you guys are doing?
Yeah.
There? And,
yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, you gotta get, bend it back a little bit until that thing flips up.
Yep.
And then you rip it off. And then I went, man, this is really cool. You don't even have to cut this cheese. It just comes in a slice.
Mm-hmm.
I took a bite of it. You got to remember, everything we ate I came from this old Italian family where we grew most of the shit we ate. And, it didn't taste like food to me. It's kind of like when you had me eat at the Tito's
Yeah.
pizza
The pizza
thing.
rolls.
Yeah. I just don't know from that stuff.
No, and you never will. And I can't say this for sure, but I feel like I saw a headline recently where they were talking about the amount of microplastics that are in our food, and that particular cheese or cheese flavored product came up on the list. I digress. So you and my mom have very different ways of thinking. And as you know, we have all kinds of heart disease in our family. All my grandparents are dead. My father is dead. My mom's the only one left, and she is hyper critical, of bad eating choices, at least, what they are in her mind, because she wants to live. And who could blame her? Of course, her parents, heavy smokers, but ate the schmaltz and the butter and the stuff. But she goes, she's always been of the thinking that's what killed them. And I go, weren't they heavy? Anyway, so she calls me yesterday, and, nothing I say ever moves the needle. That has been established long ago in my house. It has to come from anyone other than me for her to really pay attention. So I've been talking about you for so many years. It's in one ear and out the other. But then she saw some plan online and she said, is this like what Vinnie does? And I was like, kinda. Yeah, it was, something. It was paleo or, a dirty keto or something like that. And I was like, kinda, but here are the differences. And I told her, and she was kind of interested, and we're talking. And when I warmed her up, I go, because Mom, I know your biggest fear with NSNG and ketosis in general, I know what it is. In your mind, that means I am eating a block of Velveeta, a pound of bacon, some uncooked hot dogs, processed meats, processed cheeses. I'm telling you, I know it's me saying it, but try to believe it anyway. That's not what this is. It's whole foods. It's real foods. It's normal foods. He doesn't want you eating stuff from a Mylar bag. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So after getting into that for a while, she goes, does he have like should I go to his website? And I go, I'll do you one better. I put in my little credit card on the Vinnie website. I spent $10 and I sent her the NSG PDF. And I said, NSNG. And I said, you go read that and you get back to me if you have any questions. And I thought, okay, well, I've done what I can do. And, better late than never. Then I get a text from Vinnie.
So
I can tell you what it says.
All right, read the text. Well, read the text, and because I was sent this. I don't know if you can see it, but I was sent this. Marlis, I'm not going to say her middle name or whatever.
Yeah, I see it.
That thing. They said, "Hey, it says here, you must answer all the questions below." And the whole thing. How did you hear about us? My daughter Gina, Grad. Is this really? They wrote to me. They went, "Is this really Gina's mom?"
Indeed it is. So I get the screenshot of the form that you have to fill out to be in the Vinnie Facebook page. And Vinnie says, I was just made aware of this from my Facebook admins. There's always hope. So I heard about this from Vinnie, that my mom started asking me some very real questions, had me send her the PDF, and has joined the Facebook group. Now, I don't want to ask her too many questions because I feel like she's a little baby squirrel and I'm going to scare her. But I'm always quoting you. And I will say, well, Vinnie says. So I might just get a t-shirt that says, well, Vinnie says ... and just a list of quotes on the back. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Because if I say it in one ear out the other, if you say it, it holds a little more weight. No pun intended. So I think that now that it's becoming normal, and the big thing that I think that moved the needle with her when I was talking about you was she found some random fad trend diet article. And I said, well, you know what's funny about that, Mom? That a million others just like them. The WW now has a more keto friendly point system, which is not even part of what they do. And I go, and Vinnie's been doing this for 30 years. He's just happy people are finally catching up. He doesn't need the credit. He's just happy we're all arriving here. And I think that really resonated with her.
Does she have Amazon television?
Oh, I was like, does she have Amazon? Yes, she does.
She can probably watch Fata documentary for free. Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's like $2.99.
Perfect.
You get her to that. That will get her down the road.
I
to
totally
answer
agree.
A lot of questions. Does she like to read?
She likes to book on tape. Isn't yours on tape?
Mine's on tape, but not mine.
Oh.
I wanted to read Nina Teicholz.
Oh yeah.
Big Fat Surprise, because even more so than Gary's written a ton of books. I'll tell you, if she likes that, then I can recommend more books.
I'm ready.
Notice, folks, I'm not recommending my own book here. I want her to see where the science came from. And Nina does a very good job of explaining that to the average person.
Because wasn't Nina a vegetarian?
Nina was a vegetarian who was writing an article for a magazine who she was wanting to espouse the why vegetarianism or even veganism was the best diet ever. And, Nina being Nina, she comes from a scientific background, even though she's a writer. Her dad was a scientist. So she started digging in, and she's good at reading and interpreting. And she starts reading these studies, and she's like, wait a minute. The studies are not saying what the abstract came up with. This is the opposite.
Right.
What's going on here? And she started, and that led her down a 10 years. She didn't go do, folks, when you go, I've done my research, and it means you looked at the first thing on Google and you call that your research. This woman did a 10-year deep dive before she completed that book.
It's amazing.
That everyone should read Big Fat Surprise. Just saying. So
and I would imagine that not only Nina, but I know most of your experts have said this, and it's been in your movies, that we're all in 2023 finally considering getting on board with cholesterol. Food with cholesterol doesn't raise your cholesterol.
Right.
That's brand new information to, people of my mom's generation.
Well, it's been hammered into them that cholesterol is going to kill you. It's like a rattlesnake ready to just, strike. Right. And it takes a lot to undo that. I mean, going back, we were talking about sitcoms in the prologue of this show. Prologue, two syllables. I'm getting up there.
You're doing good.
Yeah, we're talking about that. And every sitcom in the 70s and 80s and even 90s, whenever, Jack Tripper would take a girl out to the fine restaurant at the Lazy Rabbit or whatever.
The Regal Beagle.
Yeah. And they would go, hey, I'll have the sirloin with a side of cardiologist.
Yeah. But
boom. That was always the joke in every sitcom.
Right.
It's like, whoa, after you eat that, we're going to have to be on operating theater. Oh, I get it. It was in every sitcom. There used to be a brand, I'm sure it still exists, called Flashmans. They were first in the 70s. Yeah. And they had a guy from New York, right? He had the New York, and he was kind of short, and he goes, yeah, I'm on an exercise regimen. I'm on a Flashmans because it's the cholesterol. There's no cholesterol in the Flashmans because it's not butter, but it tastes like butter. These were ads.
The name of the butter is I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. I mean, this was a popular cottage industry.
And you remember who was the big actor, the big model that pushed that?
Fabio. I can't believe it's not butter.
So, yeah, I mean, look, it was there the entire time. Yeah. Right? We just had to, change that paradigm. And that, look, sometimes when I'm having a glass of wine and I'm talking to Nina, we're sitting there going, we doing anything? Like, did we do anything yet? I mean, and we get a little depressed. And I'll say, you know what? I think we have. I think we're moving that, you don't, the paradigm doesn't happen overnight. I don't know how history's going to look at us. Who knows? Who cares? Probably won't look at us at all. But, it's a thing.
Yeah.
By the way, did you join the Facebook group?
I've been in the Facebook group for years, but I didn't know my mother, like, she always has to join everything I'm doing. You know what? I'm glad she finally picked one that I want her in.
Look, I'll tell you this as the closing thing. You might not know this story. Maybe I've told it to you before, but my mom, who, when she was a school teacher, I know my mom was about 5'5", 5'6". There were times when I'm sure my mom went 250, 260, maybe more.
Wow.
And every summer, her and her friend Grace Ann would get on a diet, and they would really, calorie counting. Sometimes they would do the Cambridge diet. Diets used to be named after famous
That's right.
universities, and they would get on a cabbage soup. And this summer, we're eating an avocado for a week, and then we're going to eat an egg for a week, and then we're going to drink some lemon juice and crap our
Cayenne pepper.
out for a week.
Yep.
And they did everything. I watched these women gain and lose the same 30, 40 pounds every summer and only come back heavier the next year. And I used to go, Ma, I'm your son. I was living in New Orleans at the time. I was like, come on, what are we doing here? When it's your mother, they just don't, as loving as my mother is, you don't listen to your kids. They just don't. Because how can my dumb kid know anything?
Yeah, exactly. And to my mom's credit, she was a heavy kid. She was, oh, it's so funny. She showed me while we were talking about you. She said, I was such a fat baby. And she's very slim now, and she's been for years. She was such a fat baby. In her 70s, she still has a dent from the fat roll from being a little baby.
Really?
So she was always heavy. Always. And she has dedicated so much of her life to taking the weight off and keeping it off. But now because I'm a great daughter, I'm sending her and her best friend to Italy for her birthday in September.
Nice.
And she wants to take off 10 pounds. So she's in fighting shape to do all the walking and the tours and all the guided stuff. And so finally she says maybe Vinnie has something to say.
I'm glad, because the only reason my mom ended up paying attention was because she fell during the pandemic.
Right.
And she broke her shoulder and her knee. And I'm still trying to figure out the logistics on how that happened.
She has to have been airborne for like 10 seconds.
She had to bounce. She had to bounce because it's her left knee and her right shoulder.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's never even happened in the NFL. And these guys get whipped around pretty good. So I went home and they had to eat what I was cooking.
Yeah.
And the only thing I know how to cook is meat. And every night they eat, and I started bringing high-fat yogurt home. She was like, oh, I can have this? Ma, have all you want. I was putting berries in there.
That's my favorite
berries,
breakfast.
where are these? These berries are so fresh. She's like, Mom, I'm not buying them from the store here in town. I'm going to Baton Rouge to get these. And I started doing that, just easing them in.
Right.
Easing them in. While I was there doing that 7 or 8 weeks, she lost a significant amount of weight.
That's great.
And she just kept it going. I remember, I thought she was calling me for the next several weeks when I got back here. What about this? I'm in the store right now. What about that? I need the this and the that. And I went, oh, she just kept going. She's down to her high school weight. The woman is 84 years old.
That's
Think about
incredible.
that, Gina.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I couldn't be happier.
And she's happy.
Her doctors, all of her doctors, because she has a pacemaker. She has some kind of rhythm problem with her heart.
Right.
Her doctors are like, you're in the best shape we've ever seen you in.
And they didn't take her to the woodshed saying, oh God, you're eating how much meat?
Nope.
Good.
Nope. They're like, Miss Tortorich, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it.
Right.
Keep on doing it. So, look, it's never too late, folks. We talked a lot on the last Monday show about menopause and the whole thing. Maria's way past menopause and she's still cooking.
That's so great. And just to add to, it's never too late. It's also never too early because, like I've said on this show, for dinner in this house, we always have a meat and a vegetable. I've never served bread rolls. I've never served potato. We just don't. And I had a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and I'm about to have an 8-year-old who's never asked, where's the bread? Where's the pasta? Where's the potatoes? He just knows that's not dinner. We just have our meat and our vegetable. So you're also never too young. It's not that he's deprived or he doesn't have a bunch of crap at school, but he knows what dinner's going to be every night.
And the other big win over in the Grad household is right before the show started, Gina was having a technical problem, and Andy, her husband, walked in and he looks into the camera. He goes, complete NSNG, not one cheat this year since January. And the guy looks amazing. Now, here's the thing. Andy always looks great. He's very athletically built, but he had a little punch going on, and that seems to all be gone.
It's gone. And he always says, because it's the truth, he's a basketball fanatic. He wears the full Lakers from head to toe when he watches the game at home on the couch. He's nuts. He loves to play basketball. He's in a black basketball league, of course, you know, with my people, with the Jews and the Israeli Jews. So they're hardcore. And he said for him, he really needs to stay NSNG because he's playing so much basketball, he can't deal with the inflammation. Remember when he was running 3-4 marathons a year and eating, you know, 3 Domino's pizzas the night before, and he would be, his joints would hurt, his stomach would hurt, everything. Now he goes, I just need to be able to play basketball without hurting.
Yeah. And that's the way you do it. You don't cause the inflammation, you just rock and roll. We'll make that the final word. But Gina Grad has a new show called The Brian and Gina Show, and that's the LA Magazine podcast. How does that work, Gina?
It's the official podcast of Los Angeles Magazine. We talk about Los Angeles, SoCal, the entertainment business, tourism, vacations, all kinds of things that affect not only people who live here, but people who know anyone who's been here, people who might want to come out here, and anyone who's just curious about this crazy city that we live in. That's the Brian and Gina Show, twice a week, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And also, because I know he was going to say it anyway, because he's my best customer, my book, My Favorite Mom, My Extra Mom. I was thinking of something that coming down the line. My Extra Mom, a book for step parents. I'm coming out with the audiobook and My Extra Dad soon.
I'm looking forward to the next book because even though I was jealous when I read My Extra Mom, I wish I had that when I had a stepdaughter. And by the way, when you fall in love with that person, the kid, all of a sudden, they start introducing you, you know, like, hey, Vinny's going to join us here today. And, oh, look, my friend Vinny happens to be here. You know, you happen to show up. Next thing you know, this kid is asking you questions.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to have answers.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know about yours, but mine was pretty smart. I mean, she became a top lawyer.
That's amazing.
So she was asking, like, aren't you 11? Aren't you 10? What are you asking again?
Yeah, you got to be prepared. And there's so many examples in the book of how to foster a good relationship without feeling like you're overstepping, without freaking the kid out. I really took almost 2 years on this book. So get My Extra Mom and look out for My Extra Dad soon.
I will be doing a thing on My Extra Dad as soon as it comes out. You know what to do with me. Folks, Debbie always wants me to mention we have the NSNG ebook at vinnietortorich.com. Go get that. All the Roby 2.0s, all Mike Rose people have been getting it because I see every person that goes in and buys one every day. Gina, I can't believe you bought one.
Vinny, I'm not.
All you got to do is text me, and I get Debbie to send it to you.
And that's why I didn't. I said this in a text. We're fighting about this all over again. You've done so much for me and for my family for so many years. I can't throw you $10. What kind of a leech am I?
What am I going to do with that $10? I can't even. What am I going to do? I don't know what to do.
No, it's your problem now to figure it out.
I got $10. I got to spend it somewhere. So, folks, you could go spend $10 also and get that PDF. It helps a lot of people, including Marla's Grad. So, you can get the same help she's getting. So go check that out. You know what to do. Go to vinnietortorich.com before you go to Amazon. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track, keeps this show free for a gazillion years in a row. On behalf of Miss Gina Grad, my name is Vinnie Tortorich, and let's do it with the girls from ABBA just one more time.